Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options in Play video update. Definitely something that has become more a topic of conversation as stocks continue to drop is this idea of selling puts um, on the downside, right, to kind of like collect premium on some stocks that have gotten hit really hard. Also, with option prices like really elevated, right? Um, and I think that that's a strategy that definitely can work for some people. I think right now what's important to note is that I mean for a lot of stocks they have come down quite a bit, but there's also definitely some room lower still, right? I mean because a lot of names are working off like just huge gains from 2020 to 2021. So just because they've corrected 30 to 40% doesn't mean they can't go down another 20 to 30% on top of that, right? So, I mean, with any option strategy, there's always risk. And the thing with selling puts is that you just really need to make sure you're comfortable owning the stock, right? Because if the stock continues to drop through the strike of the options you sold, then you need to be able to take delivery of the stock if that's something that you have the capital for, or you're going to have to cover it and thereby probably taking a hit on the options, right? So that's just like a risk you really need to figure out if you're comfortable with before you start to do that type of strategy. Now, in terms of like selling, like determining which strikes to go with, I feel like using levels that are important, key technical spots is kind of like a smart way to go about it, right? Because you know that the stock could theoretically have more interest from buyers around those levels, right? So just using Apple as an example, you can see that the chart of Apple is starting to break, right? The 200A has been an important level, important long-term level. It's decidedly below it now. It's starting to pick up some momentum to the downside, and people are wondering, like, what levels would you maybe think about selling puts? And if you are comfortable with the risk, right, then you look out on the chart and you say, okay, what are the significant levels? Yes, 140 was like a spot back towards the end of last year, right? But I mean, the next really major level to me looks like it's more in like the 120s, mid 120s, right? Down from where it was in March to basically June, July of last year. On a longer term chart, you can see that the 100 week is around like 136. So if you want to use like a longer term level, it could be something to look at. You can see that it was a relevant level back in the COVID crash. So 2020, March of 2020, had a really nice bottom, and also it actually marked a low in 2019 as well when it first pulled back. So if you're looking at like a moving average, you could use like maybe like that 100 week as like a spot where you're thinking about selling puts, but just acknowledging that Apple is still up quite a bit from where it was in 2020, and there still could be more room lower. So you got to be comfortable owning the stock if it does trade through that strike, right? In terms of like which expiration, that's going to really, really, really come down to how much are you looking to collect, what's your time frame, right? Like, is this something that you want to be involved with maybe just for a couple months, looking for like a quicker bounce, or is it something like 12 months, 18 months, right? If you're looking out that long, like 12 months, the thing to really consider is that basically the earnings risk around a lot of these companies lately has been pretty elevated. So if you are selling premium out that far, so anywhere beyond the next 3 months, then you're going to be selling premium through multiple earnings releases, and like that's just something you want to be aware of. Like as you get up until like the next earnings season, so say like July or August, that you really want to pay attention because we have seen some high profile hits, right? So if it's a company that historically is volatile around earnings and you're selling premium on the downside through earnings, just make sure that like the closer you get to that event that you're paying attention, right? Like because you don't want to come in to see a stock down like 30, 40, 50% when you sold premium thinking it wasn't going to drop that much, right? Because right now earnings seem to be a much bigger catalyst, especially on the downside. So if you are selling put premium, make sure that you're aware of what's on the calendar, when the big events are, and really be focused on hedging if needed around those events, just to try to cover some of your downside in case things really do get hit or accelerate to the downside. Okay, so I mean, I get the idea of selling premium into dips, right? Some people like to do it. They like to focus on like quality names, stocks that they're familiar with, using big levels, right? So try technicals, key support levels, right? Like those could be like nice areas to focus on because might be the levels that really attract buyers. And then, in terms of timing, you got to really ask yourself, like, is this something like I'm only going to be committed with for like the next 2 to 3 months, or is this something like longer? And then if it is longer, just make sure that you're really aware of what's coming up on the calendar. Okay. So I mean, it's definitely a market that's moving. I mean, right now it's moving to the downside. We'll see how the rest of the week plays out. But I mean, if nothing else, it's a interesting tape, and things are moving. So there's opportunities out there. You just got to really be specific with what you're doing because the action is fast, the reversals are quick, and stuff is really moving in very very sharp um, like directions, right? So things are straight up or straight down, and you got to be fast, and you got to make sure you got proper trade management because if you don't hit your targets and you don't hit your stops, things can reverse quickly on you. Okay. So if you like this video and you're looking for more information about swing trading with options, please follow up with the link in the description of the video for more information on options to play. Have a great night, stay well, and I will talk to you